Hey, hello friends. I hope you are doing well. This is a continuation video to my earlier video of setting up Visual Studio Code for C++ debugging. You like this video, so this is I'll try to cover in-depth information about task.json file in this particular video. So this video is about everything task.json, how to configure task.json, how to generate task.json for C++ programs, and how to run independent tasks. Basically, what is the purpose of task.json in Visual Studio Code? This video is all about that. Okay, so let's begin. So if you have not watched my earlier video of setting Visual Studio Code for C++ debugging, please do watch. So that will be helpful to understand concepts in this video. Okay, so let's begin. So I have this simple C++ file, okay, and I want to run this file basically in Visual Studio Code. So I am assuming that you have already installed compilers, required compilers and libraries and tools, which I basically already explained in my earlier video. Okay, now if I want to generate, so task.json file is basically used to create a configuration to run C++ programs. Now how to generate task.json file? Okay, now this is my simple C++ program I have written, and I have no configuration to run C++ program on this Visual Studio Code. So now I'll show how to generate task.json. Basically, task.json is specific to a particular project workspace. So CPP learning is my workspace, and I will generate task.json to run any C++ program in this workspace. So there are many ways you can generate task.json. Okay, the most simplest way is if you can see my terminal. Okay, I have this terminal window open here. Okay, in this terminal window, if so you can open this terminal window from here, terminal. Okay, and here if you see there is a this plus button. Okay, if you click on this plus button, there you see configure tasks. Okay, now based on what kind of compiler and libraries you have installed in your system, it will automatically detect compilers which are available in your system using environment variables. Now I have installed MC's 64 library, which contains these three kind of compilers with it. So it's showing me that which what kind of task you want to configure. Okay, so it will be, so we can either configure entire task by ourselves, or we can take uh, system generated task. Basically, if I select any of these, Visual Studio Code will generate a default task for me, and I can configure that. So since I am building a C++ program and I will configure G++ compiler, I will click on this. Okay, and if you see, as soon as I clicked on that option, it generates that this task.json under a hidden directory called .vscode for this particular project workspace, and it generated this default task. Okay, now now I can basically, if I want to run my this program first.cpp, I can simply execute this task. Okay, this that will build my C++ program and will not run it. In order to run my C++ program, I either need to configure a launch.json, which I explained in my earlier video, or you can create another task to run C++ program using task.json itself. We will see how we can do that. Now first let's understand what are various parameters available in task.json, okay, which Visual Studio Code has provided by default. If you see these tasks, basically this task file is nothing but a set of operations which you want to perform on your C++ file. Okay, there can be multiple tasks. As you can see, this task is an array. Okay, there can be multiple tasks you want to execute on C++ file. So just consider, for an example, there is a C++ file and you want to perform tasks like you want to build it, you want to run it, you want to test that file, you want to run linters like code checking, static analysis. For all these various kinds of tasks, you can create many different tasks in this particular array. Okay, so by default there exists only one task, okay, which is to build current C++ file. We'll understand what are all the parameters. Let's go. So first it's type. Okay, and type is C++ build. So basically there can be different types of task like CPP build, one of other is shell. Okay, so basically what this specifies is this particular task object. Okay, I'm calling this entire task a task object. This particular task object is to build C++ files. Okay, now when we specify type CPP build, we need to specify a compiler to build arguments the compiler takes to build the C++ program, and many other things. Okay, so default task type is CPP build. So this is language specific. This task is used to build C++ programs. Okay, now here it's a label. So label is nothing but a name of the task. You can specify any label you want. So I can specify like I build C++. Okay, for easy to remember and use while executing task. Okay, so this is the name of the task. Command is basically what kind of command you want to run basically for this particular task. So since I want to build a CPP, this is a CPP build task. I am using this path. Basically system has already generated, but we can configure it. So we will run this particular command g++exe in order to build my current C++ file. Okay, so this is the path of my compiler, and so this is a command, and I can specify arguments to the command. So arguments, as an argument, like we can specify many kind of arguments. So here the default arguments are like -g. So I want to debug, compile current C++ file in debug mode. So this, so whatever you see with $file, that means these are environment variables available to VS Code. So file specifies current file basically. Okay, so it means is I want to debug, I want to compile this current file with -g flag in debug mode, so that I can debug that file. And -o means output file. Whenever I will compile my C++ file, what kind of output file it will generate. So if you can see it, it has mentioned that file directory name / file base name no extension .exe. That means that file directory name is an environment variable default specified in VS Code. That means that current file directory, in current file directory, so CPP learning, in this directory I want to generate a file called file base name no extension. Whatever file I compile, so the name of that file is specified using this environment variable and .exe. So if I execute first.cpp, it will generate first.exe as an exe file once I compile that particular C++ file using this particular task. Okay. Now there are various options you can specify. So default option specified is CWD, which is current working directory. So current working directory is specified using this particular environment variable file directory name. Okay, as you hover on this particular symbol, Visual Studio Code provides the description of this particular variable. Okay, now this is one of the options. We don't need any other option. So this it means current working directory. Now there is another option called problem matcher. Okay, so problem matcher, this particular um, parameter in this task.json is used to specify, like if I compile this file and if in my compilation compiler generates some errors, then how do you want to see that error? So basically whenever we run a particular C++ program, in like besides terminal there is this problem pane, right? Okay, so all these problems in this problem spans are coming here, basically are shown here because of this problem matcher. Okay, so problem matcher is nothing but if you are running another task for a C++ program which generates some other, which might generate some other kind of error, you might provide a regular expression here. So here by default problem matcher is in GCC. So it means that whatever errors GCC can um, GCC can throw, it will match those errors and it will show all those errors here. Okay, in problem span. Okay, if we don't specify problem.matcher, so default behavior is this, but as I'm saying, if you have a custom script which you want to run on your program that generates error, you can specify regular expressions also. If that script generates like some other error, you can write a regular expression so when you to match that error, and if that error is matched after running the script, those errors will also be shown in this problem span. Okay, so it is just for easier of debugging and seeing errors for a particular C++ file. Okay, then there is a parameter called group. Okay, So basically there can be two groups in Visual Studio tasks. One is build and one is test. So it is just to group set of tasks together. Okay, for there can be many tasks which is helpful for building a C++ program or building a particular any language program basically, or there can be other groups like test. So it is just for tagging purpose that this particular task is for building a C++ program. Okay, we'll see how we can specify test also. Now there is last option called detail. So detail is nothing but when you run a C++ program um, uh, using a particular task. So along with the task name, this particular description is also shown for that particular task. So I can say, right, like building CPP programs using G++. Okay, so this is the task I have created. Okay, to build my C++ program. Now if I go to first.json and I want to run that particular task. Now how can I run that particular task? Simple method is I already shown in that my earlier video. Now if I just want to run this particular task here in this terminal window, here you see run task, right? So since I have configured my task, so here you see, right, build cc plus build cc plus plus, this is the label field. This name is coming from the label field from that task, and if I click on this particular task, it will build my current first.cpp file. Okay, you see build finished successfully. Okay, now this has just built the file, it has not run that file. Now all this information, right, this particular command and arguments are coming from the task which we have configured here. Okay, now what if I want to specify few other tasks also? So just for an example, this is my build task, right? This is just building a CPP file and it's not running it. So I may specify other tasks which might to basically run the generated C++ exe. Okay, now let's see how we can do it. So I'm copying a task I already created. Okay, so as you see, this was my default task to build C++ program. I have added this one more task, okay, to run the generated C++ file. Okay, now as you see, most of the parameters are common, but I have changed the type to shell. As I said, type can be shell or CPP build. For building C++ file, the type was CPP build, but this shell is a very generic type. Even for this building, you can specify shell as a type. Okay, so what I'm saying is that this new task is basically a shell task. It means that through this new task, we will run whatever command is specified in this particular particular task uh, in the shell terminal. Okay, so this is a shell task. So if you want to run any kind of command in the shell terminal, then we specify type as a shell type. Okay, so any kind of command. So in order to build and run C++ program, we run command like G++ and GCC. So any kind of task can be. So all these tasks can be shell tasks. Okay, now type is shell because I want to run this file on terminal, shell terminal. Okay, label is run C++. Above our label was build ccpb. Here I have specified run cpp. Okay, because this task is to run C++ program, generated C++ exe. Now the command I want to use is, see, the command is file direct. I'm using as I mentioned earlier, environment variables. I'm using file directory name, file base name, no action dot exe. So basically I want to run that exe file generated by about task as part of this particular task, run C++ task. Options are same as mentioned earlier, current working directory. um, so I have kept just default options here. Problem matcher is also same. If while running the program, if it generates any kind of errors, then those errors will be shown in the problems pane. Okay, now if you see in the groups option, I have specified kind as test. Okay, earlier my kind was build in the group. Now a kind is test. Okay, and as you see, basically why the kind is test is because this particular task is to test the generated exe file, generated C++ programs exe file. So I specify a kind as test. You can even specify build. It's not much of a value for this simple C++ programs. Okay, but just for simplicity I have kept this particular kind as test. Now as you mentioned, is default is true, it means that for all the tasks, of type test, this particular task will be my default task. So while executing C++ program, if I execute a test task, then this task will run, okay, among all these test tasks. Now if you see, there is this new parameter, right, depends on. So what does this specify is basically this particular task is dependent on all these tasks. Okay, so here I have specified only one task, like build CPP. I'll change its name. Basically what I'm saying is, if I want to run my C++ program, I first need to build my C++ program. So this particular run task is dependent on build task. That's why I specified the name of the build task, and detail as specified, like it, this particular task execute C++ task using G++. Sorry, G++, no need to specify. It just executes C++ exe maybe. Okay. Okay. Now if I go to my first.cpp, and if I want to run that newly created task, again I'll go here, I'll say run task, and what I will say, I will say run C++ program. So as you can see, my C++, okay, whatever command I have specified, this current file.exe, this program has run, and it's printing its result. Okay, so that's how we configure various tasks. Now one more last task. So I have specified two tasks, build task and run task. Now let's specify one more task, to basically clean up the generated exe file after running the program, right? So I have one more task to clean up the C++ exe file after it is executed. Now I am copying that task here. Okay, so this is one more task object in the array of tasks. Here again the type of the task is shell, because I just want to run a shell command. uh, okay, what kind of shell command we will see. Then label, basically name of this task is cleanup.exe file I have specified. Now command is basically what command I want to run on shell. I want to run rm command. Okay, rm command, and what argument it takes, it takes current file's exe name. Okay, so basically I just want to remove .exe file generated for the C++ file. Okay, and I have specified the detail as default, basically clean up exe files. Okay, now I save these file. So if you see, I have three tasks specified, okay, differently. uh, Run task is dependent on build task. Okay, now if I, okay, now, okay, first go to our file, and I want to first clean up the generated exe file. I will run cleanup exe. So as soon as you configure a task, the name appears here with its detail, like cleans exe files. So I um, okay, so as you can see, my task is executed, and so what it does is basically it has removed the first.exe file, so that we can rebuild again from the code if we change any code here. Now as you can see, whatever task I run, those tasks appears here. Okay, those tasks appear here. Okay, now I have run recently the cleanup.exe, so this task appeared here. Now let me remove all these tasks I might have run earlier. Now if I want to run, okay, so a task can be run either from the command palette, control shift p, and you can say run task. uh, and then you need to specify what kind of task you want to run. So let's run CPP. As we see, run CPP was dependent on build CPP, so it should first generate a build. It should first generate exe file, and then it will run that file. Okay. Make sure that I basically note that I am executing the entire C++ program using tasks.json only, without launch.json. So I'm just opening the terminal again. I go to command palette, I say run task, and I'll say run CPP file. Okay, so as you can see here, right, uh, I mean, as you might have noted, it first build the C++ program. See, let's look at the terminal output. It first ran the build C++ task, because as mentioned in the run C++ task, I have already mentioned dependency on the build C++. So it first build C++ program, then build finish successfully, and then it ran basically the exe file generated. Okay, and it printed its results. Okay, so that's how we can configure various tasks. So I have, as you see, right, I have specified three tasks: cleanup task, build task, and run task. Likewise, you can also run, if you have a big project, C++ project, you can create many other tasks to test your C++ files. Or if you want to run some additional instrumentation or linting, those tasks can also be specified in this tasks.file. Basically, purpose of this video is to understand various parameters of tasks.json file, and how we can, what is tasks basically, and how we can configure different tasks. Okay, I hope you will like this video. Please share your thoughts on this video so that I'll improve on if there is anything I miss in this video. Okay, thank you.